All right, I honor y'all for watching here on YouTube at Blooming Light at Blooming Tribe. If you're logging in on the original air date, that's going to be Sunday, February the 22nd. Oh, look, 222, February 22nd, 2026. If you're logging in live, otherwise, if you're honorable being and you're watching this video, I honor you for watching here on YouTube at Blooming Light at Blooming's Tribe. And collective, when I say TI collective, or those who are neutral, or should I say are not a part of the BS, and they are trying to learn and better understand the TI. Okay, this is for you all, just so you all will know. What would these people do if, okay, TI, because you get a lot of people with a lot of judgments that they are all too willing to execute against you. A lot of opinions, a lot of expertise, a lot of meetings, a lot of policies, procedures, and ordinances. You get a whole lot of folks that are, even if they're trying to act like they're not passing some kind of judgments or presumptions or expectations, they're putting it out there. Okay. Everybody, it's easy for anyone and everyone to sit back. I'm going to say this redundantly. I'm going to say this like a broken record. I'm going to say it redundantly. I'm going to say it like a broken record. Here it is. If it were them, I like to give story time because, again, until you're living something, all you have is just like videos and theory and bullet points and those things. But the targets, it's real life for them. Huh, target? Huh, and I'm talking to those who may be watching the targets and care, but the target knows like it's their life. So it ain't theory for them. It ain't a backdrop story, and they're not at the comforts of their lattes and tablets. It's life. Okay? So, Target and those who are curious and wanting to learn about this stuff, what would these people do what would they do? Now, I'm going to give some story time examples because this is life. Again, until you yourself, or that's just the nature of most of the human experience for most average standard human being. If you found out that your landlord was fucking your ex, or they were related to your ex, or a friend of someone who fucked your ex, whatever the case may be, I'm going to force the world to listen to that, sit with it. I'm going to force it. You know why? Why I'm going to force it? Because that's the reality that many TIs live. It's not a theory. It's not a suspicion. It's not even paranoia. It's a reality for many TIs. So if you found out, let's say if you found out that an ex, a lover, a relative was somehow in cahoots and connection, relatives that you're estranged from, that have issues with you, and that's got a weird obsession with you and following you around the United States of America. If you found out, hold on one second. If you found out that like I said, that Da, da, da. Oh, hold on. This is truth. And as you got this information, you found out, then they, let me say it like this, T.I., then it makes sense as to why perhaps these professionals begin to conduct in such ways. And then if they start acting funny with you, bouncing back and forth, or with the TI from trying to get, sedity and smart and legalese, then all of a sudden wanting to communicate, which one is it gonna be? But here's my point. Because when it's convenient for them, then they use, terminology such as, the lawyer is advising. And then when it's not convenient for them, when they're needing, then it's like, oh, now it's open communication again. So first is, we will no longer be emailing. Then it's, you see what I'm saying? So what would they do? Target, what would anyone do if it were them? Would they be trusting the processes? Because see, we have to make sense of this. We got to get real about this stuff, because it is reality for many. I didn't say everybody, but there are many that are experiencing this type of conflict of interest. And by the time they know it, it's not something that the TI can do anything about. But it explains why the unnecessary conflicts, the weirdness, the attitude. If it were them or anybody, what would, because see, again, redundant, broken record. Because you're always told to go through the policy, procedures, and the hierarchy of process. And no matter what you're in, government, business, whatever, it's always this process, and you're encouraged to follow such protocol. But the protocol does not work if they fucked the landlord. The protocol does not work if they fucked the case manager of the housing authority program. Or if they're friends, like I said, I've given all sorts of plausible dynamics in cases where it's, they fucked friends, family, friend of the friend, whatever. The protocol doesn't work in that case. The TI has absolute 0% reason to have any confidence that their civil or human rights is being honored in such case and situation. They have no reason to want to even disclose all things to such individuals, because there is a conflict of interest. Trusting that things will be just and fair. They have no reason under those circumstances to believe that. To make a statement like people don't want to lose their job, that's also ignorance and gullibility, and it's a convenient escape statement. Obviously, they don't care about that all that much, because they're doing what they're doing. We would have to remedy and answer the question on a grander scale, why people do what they do and they have these good jobs. It is just what it is. People be used to getting away with shit. And so at the end of the day, that's the reason why they do it. They've been given anonymity. Some corrupt somebody got in their ear with some power and whatever. and they've been doing something for a long time. So we're going to have to find another answer. Why would somebody put their career at risk? Why does any corrupt motherfucker do what the fuck they do? I mean, if we're going to open up that Pandora's box, if we're going to open up that can of worms, you know what I'm saying? If we're really trying to make sense of criminality here, why would any of them do it? They got these 401ks and pensions. It's because they've been getting away with it, just like a teenager. A teenager do what they do because they've been getting away with it, and they benefit from it. And the teenager never believes that, you know, that invincible. Okay. So the TI has to make a lot of heavyweight decisions. That's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Lesser of two evils. They're constantly facing those types of things because the system hasn't proven to serve them truly. The system has just been proven to be used and exploited against them. If the landlord or the property owner, or where you lay your head or your children lay, or anywhere you have to frequent, have an in for you, would you feel safe in their property? I want someone to answer that with a clear fucking yes or no. We're just gonna get past all the bullshit, and I want someone out there to answer with a clear fucking yes or no. If they knew that the property owner or landlord or management of where they had to frequent or lay their head and live had it in for them, would you feel safe? If they knew that that person had fucked their ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, would you feel safe, or would you feel like they're trying to do stuff they have no business doing? Would they feel safe? See, most people don't experience that type of intrusion, and this is why they don't have a point of reference, and this is why they can't really believe it or fathom that it happens. Because the problem with that is these people have access to things that they shouldn't. People's most vulnerable and sacred personal, private, human, and civil rights in space. So I'll say it again. Would they feel? Would they feel comfortable? Would they feel safe? Would they feel like things would be just and fair and honorable? No. I'm going to say it again. So the TI has to be abrupt in such cases and situations. They have to sneak off. They have to, you know what I'm saying, because their livelihood depends on it. Their safety and health and well-being actually depends on it. Because when you have people that are in this position, those positions who are mentally unstable, but they appear to be stable, and they're taking advantage of whatever privilege they have, white privilege, male privilege, money privilege, whatever it is. The TI has to preserve at all costs. If the corruption's with the police, and the managers, the brother of the police, do you, yeah, would they feel, nigga, like, or they all tight and clicky with all the horrors that a nigga fucked, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. And it becomes some weird hate club and shit. The TI has to. So they look sketchy, but the TI sketchiness is their preservation when they have been put in compromising situations such as what I just said. It happens, people. It's a thing. And not everybody is going to hold to whatever standard of integrity. Not everybody operates like that, especially if you put some money on the table. Especially then, especially if you're making some kind of deal and you're going to these people and they already don't like the person, and then you're offering them, blase, blase. The TI has no reason to trust that they're being honored. If the motherfuckers letting people go in the unit, pretending like they don't know what the fuck is going on and not doing nothing about violations and shit like that. And the truth of the matter is, most I don't care what they say in the Zoom meeting. I don't care what they're saying as they get yet another certificate and a degree. All things being equal, if they didn't have the power, the networks, the black card, or any other of these privileges that have made it cushy for them, if they didn't have connections and high places and all of this sort of shit, they would be preserving them and their children's health and well-being, safety and security, which would include secrecy. Because these folks have already proven that they are not trustworthy. They have already proven that they are not integral. They've proven that they're not to be trusted. Lie straight through their rotten veneer teeth to the target, knowing full well they fucked a old boy or old girl, knowing full well, you know what I'm saying, of the personal vested interests with some shared connections. So since they've already proven that, and then their peculiar behavior over the course of the contract, or what I'm saying, the involvement, that only further to not disclose reasons for the TI to equally if they knew like a manager, owner, or landlord was a racist, like with a serious racism problem, and started having certain incidences with them, would you feel safe? Would they feel safe knowing that that person could come in there at any given moment when they're not there doing whatever they want? Including poison, including nosing around and stuff that they have no business nosing around in. Including theft. Here's the truth. Until people face certain things, some folks just won't have the capacity. It'll be all theory and intellectual. It is natural, human nature in the animal kingdom and everything else to self-preserve. under the circumstances when someone's life has been compromised in that way, you know and accept that you're doing corruption. So you don't feel safe there. You do wish to, you know, follow all these policy and rules. You're like Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. Screw your damn past. It's like the rule breakers got the audacity to be fucking hall monitors. The ultimate hypocrisy and double standard. Just like I knew we needed to get out of Texas. It was too much hate. Me and my son was surrounded by nothing but hate. People didn't have a history with us, so they didn't have a point of reference. I knew that hatred would follow us, but I also knew there are some people who know us, knew us, and loved us. And also, you know, an environment that's larger than them, where everybody ain't bit by the poisonous snakes. And that's exactly what we're experiencing in California. You know, everything is still uncertain, but in a short period of time, even though some of the stuff is contaminated, just like in Texas, I'm aware of it. I'm just not making a big deal of it. I can also see that, like I said, I can see the glimmer. I can see the shift, the dynamic shifting. I'm still stalked. We're still followed. Weirdos are still being around and acting weird and making themselves known and obvious that they are. It's still there. I know that here, possibly soon before this year is out, some of these famous people with their obsessions gonna really wish they found another hobby. They really are. Because there are some people that I didn't even realize was obsessed all this time. And it's like, you know, it's a part of me that's like, are you fucking kidding me? The life me and my son lived. Why they sit on their fat ass? Fat cats? You fucking kidding me? I'm aware of all that, but I'm also taking the power away from it because there's something bigger than even them at play. There's still more breathability, even though they still surround me like Rocky 4 and shit. You know what I'm saying? Rocky 4 going into the mountains, into Russia and shit. They don't want you to have shit. They making your conditions all impoverished and shit, being stingy and weird, wanting you to pine and pant for nickels and dimes and kibbles and bits and shit, while they fat asses sit all fanciful with all of the fancy schmancy shit. Can't do shit without all the extras, bitch. Trying to go outside and run in the mountains, Rocky and shit. Here they weird ass. You know what I'm saying? Rocky 4. That's the target's life. And these people ain't got no shame. I tell you what, I ain't surprised about nothing no more. They ain't got no shame. They hire handicaps, bitch. They hire all, you know what? Because they pander. I know it's a broken record. I know it's redundant, but it's the truth. They pander to these impoverished and fixed income. It's like I said, they pander to the rich man's greed and hatred and the poor man's desperation. And that is 100% truth. People with the no legs and, you know, people, you know what I'm saying? And that bothers me. I have a handicapped son. It bothers me that they're hiring handicapped to stalk the handicapped. And, you know, and because these folks are desperate, they need it in supplemental income. They don't, you know, they ain't got nowhere to go. They need somebody to pay for these motel vouchers. They need somebody to, you know, incidentals and stuff. And then that's all that matters to them. Some of them IQs don't be all of that. And I'm not even saying that to be insulting. I'm really leaning into the programmer because it's intentional. They lean into ignorance. That's a part of the bread and butter. The more ignorant, the more easy the person is to manipulate and control. Just like the more desperate. You see that? They're not telling these people what they're doing is illegal. They're not telling these people what they're doing is wrong. They're not telling these people what they're doing is, they're not giving them the real reasons. They're not telling them that they're violating human and civil rights. They're not telling these people none of that shit. They're not telling these people that it's psychological warfare tactics. The bullet point task that they tell them to do every day is actually a military grade psychological warfare strategy. They're not telling people that. And they know that they too dumb to even care in most cases. Too dumb or too tired. They just know they need that voucher and that Walmart gift card, and they need that whoop-de-whoop. That's what they know. Sad, huh? So we are getting to a space that we were not able in Texas. Like I said, it was too much hatred. And it was too closed in, and it was too isolated. And it was just too much. There was I had nobody. My son had nobody. We're on our turf now. So it's a mixed bag. And yes, I am aware corruption leaks into everything here because it origined here. Remember, we're from California, so it started in California. Anywho, I'm going to get going. But just know that it's human nature. It's natural for somebody to self-preserve. It's unnatural to try to convince a being to put themselves in harm's way when they know that they are in harm's way. Just like in the animal kingdom, they are not waiting for somebody to have a Zoom meeting. They're not waiting for somebody to catch up with them to believe such and such and such, and they follow their instincts and what's innate in their ancestry lineage, and they do what the fuck they have to do. And there's no one that would tell them, it's okay, oh, Panther Kitty, You'll be just fine. Trust me instead of yourself, even though I am trying to set you up and entrap you. We know that it's natural for the animals to do certain things, but when it becomes to humans, to us, we want to convince people to put themselves in harm's way because we can't fathom the truth about a situation. I'm gonna make somebody think with that one.